Brands are shortcuts for expressing larger ideas. But if you're not careful, the brands that you associate yourself with can actually overwhelm your own story. I'm Colin Wright, and you are watching Consider This. So a brand is the combination of the words and the sounds and the colors and the typography and the associations and every other little thing that goes into a larger organization or individual. Coca-Cola's brand is a great example. This brand is associated with everything from like a 1950s Norman Rockwell Christmas and Santa Claus to that very specific primary shade of red and the scripty typeface and the shape of the bottle and that very well-developed, very intentional fizz sound that they have on all of the commercials and the sound that it makes when you take the top off of one of their sodas. This is a very strong, very tightly knit, very well-developed, very firmly implanted brand. Apple is the same way. Apple has an incredible brand. When you think of an Apple product, you can picture the type of person that would use that product. You can picture the curves on the hardware. You can picture the tactile sense that you'd have while touching it or while holding it. You can picture the packaging, you can picture the typefaces, you can picture the animations that would result from tapping one of their screens or the sounds that would emerge if you set an alarm. Everything about this brand is incredibly well developed. It's fully fleshed out. It's real. It's realer than real in some cases. And therein lies the rub, because associating oneself with these larger brands can serve as a shortcut for expressing who you are. I am a Coca-Cola person. I am an Apple person. I carry a Gucci bag. Whatever it happens to be, these are things that we're doing to associate ourselves with these particular brands. But if you picture a brand as like a circle, okay, and all of the brands that we associate ourselves with, whether by talking about them or wearing them or using their devices, displaying them in some way, associating ourselves with their stories, when you overlap all of these, it's like a Venn diagram, and each one of us as individuals are at the center of that Venn diagram. Whatever shape that makes is us. And so we are the combinations then of all of these very well-developed stories that are being told by these different brands and organizations, and even individuals. The problem with this is that by telling our story in terms of somebody else's story, it's inherently reductionist, and we inherently miss out on some things that are very specific to us. There's a lot of messages that are not valuable, that companies like Coca-Cola are not going to use because they're not market-friendly. They're not things that you necessarily want to be associated with if you're trying to sell a soft drink to everyone on the planet. So that little shape at the center of the Venn diagram might be a fair approximation of who you are and where you are in life and the way that you see the world. But it's more like it gets the right zip code for who you are. It doesn't get the right neighborhood or the right house or the right room. Definitely doesn't get the right spot of floor that you're standing on, the space from which you view the world. It cannot capture you. It cannot capture your perspective. It can only get the rough outline. And what sucks for us as individuals is that no matter how well we tell our stories, these bigger brands, they have hundreds, sometimes thousands of people that are very well paid and very intelligent that are very intentionally trying to overwhelm your brand. They are trying to make their product, their celebrity, their organization, whatever it happens to be, clear enough and big enough and desirable enough that you define yourself in terms of them. Because then you keep coming back, you keep referencing them, you keep helping them develop and sell more widgets, and you help them grow. And this brand then spirals out of control, and you become part of this tribe. But in doing so, you kind of become just another face in the crowd. You are defining yourself in their context. And the better way, the more ideal way to define yourself is in your own context. And the only real way to do this is to step back periodically. Take a good look at yourself. Take a good look at who you are and what you actually believe. And figure out if you are expressing this clearly. What story are you telling? What story are you telling with your actions and with the way that you dress and the work that you do and how you spend your time? Are you expressing a clear brand? Because in a lot of cases, the only way to avoid becoming just a moon in the orbit of planet Coca-Cola is to ensure that you have the same stickiness and the same social gravity that they have. or at least as much as possible, so that you can become your own planet. You can become your own center of gravity. And so that eventually, if you define yourself well enough, rather than just being one more person under the umbrella of Planet Apple, other people are defining themselves by you. Corporations and celebrities are making themselves in your image. The idea here is to become so brazenly you, so unabashedly, unrepentantly you, that the only way to define yourself accurately is with your own name. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I would definitely appreciate you sharing with your friends on other social networks. You can subscribe to my channel, or you can click the little thumbs up and give me a like. That also helps, and it's really, really easy. If you want to find out more about me and my work, you can go to colin.io and see my books and my About page and some of the speaking gigs I've done. And you can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet using the moniker Colin is my name. So feel free to reach out and say howdy if you are on one of those other social networks. Thanks, guys.